Allah is my heart's speech, your mercy is what I beseech. Keep in my heart your remembrance, and in your deen allow me to advance. Help me in my quest, permit me to pass the ultimate test. Help me in my quest, permit me to pass the ultimate test.
السلام عليكم ورحمة الله وبركاته. بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. الحمد لله رب العالمين، والعاقبة للمتقين، ولا عدوان إلا على الظالمين، والصلاة والسلام على سيد الأولين والآخرين نبينا محمد وعلى آله وصحبه أجمعين. وبعد. Dear viewers everywhere, welcome to another new edition of Ask Huda. This is a recorded episode to answer some of the many pending email questions. The first question we have is pertaining, where does the ma'moom stand from the imam? This is in a case that the ma'moom is a singular ma'moom. Yani if a person is praying and somebody joined him in the prayer, so he has become an imam and only one follower, where does he stand? Does he have to step behind him like 1 foot, or to be a little inferior to his position? Also, if the line is full and another person walked in, will he be able to stand alone in a new row? First of all, there is a hadith which is narrated by Abdullah ibn Abbas, may Allah be pleased with him, who mentioned that once he was praying behind the Prophet ﷺ, and he was standing to his left hand side. So the Prophet ﷺ grabbed hold of him and he moved him from behind him, because he cannot cross from in front of the imam. He moved him from behind him and he recruited him and put him to his right hand side, muhadiyan lahu, in line with him. In the hadith, the Prophet ﷺ ordered to straighten the lines. So if it is only an imam and one ma'moom, that's one row, one line, which must be straightened. So there is no reference. Why should the ma'moom step behind the imam even for 1 foot or a few inches? Yes, in some views of some of the scholars said because the imam is superior, so he should be given this superiority. But we actually act upon the reference. The reference is according to this hadith, another hadith where Umar ibn Khattab pulled somebody who was praying behind him and put him to his right, muhadiyan lahu. The word muhadiyan lahu means in line with him. So the more right view is that the ma'moom, if he is the only ma'moom, the only follower, should line up with the imam on the same line, should not step behind the imam even for a few inches. The next question is from Malik Rahmat. He said, I would like to know how to pray which according to the Hanafi madhab. Also, should the dua be said in Arabic? Brother Malik, I may disagree with the way you presented your question. I would rather say I would like to pray Maghrib, which according to the way that the Prophet ﷺ prayed it. Because the madhahib is not some sort of prejudice that people believe that we belong to this madhab and I don't care what others would do. Rather, I would definitely care about how the Prophet ﷺ used to do it. Before Al-Imam Abu Hanifa, may Allah have mercy on him, or Malik, or Al-Shafi'i, or Ahmad were born, before Sufyan al-Thawri, Yahya ibn Ma'in, Al-Imam al-Bukhari, and all these imams were born, how did people used to pray? This is a very important question. Unfortunately, people have taken the madhahib as some sort of belief. This is our belief. And you may be shocked to know that at one point, that people used not to pray behind an imam following a different madhab. This is entirely wrong. Also, in the marriage contract, until recently, you find the person who's processing the marriage contract says that, repeat after me, I marry you my daughter according to the book of Allah, the sunnah of the Prophet ﷺ, and the madhab of such and such imam. For instance, in Egypt they say Imam Abu Hanifa, other places. Why? And how do people used to get married before these Imams were born? Very important questions. Sheikh Al-Albani, Muhammad Nasir al-Din Al-Albani, may Allah have mercy on him, have compiled a beautiful book or booklet pertaining to the Prophet's prayer. صفة صلاة النبي صلى الله عليه وسلم, from the takbir all the way to the taslim, relying on the sound references. That's it. That's it. The matter has been already decided, has been made very clear, because the Prophet صلى الله عليه وسلم said, صلوا كما رأيتموني أصلي. Pray as you have seen me praying. You and I, we have not seen the Prophet صلى الله عليه وسلم. We did not see him physically, did not visualize him, let alone seeing how did he pray. But mashallah, his companions narrated to us every bit of his worship, of his life, anything that will benefit us in our daily lives. And that should be more than sufficient. So we follow these traditions as if we were there and we could see the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam. So al-witr, the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam prayed it in more than one format. He prayed the witr as praying even rak'ahs, for instance 2 by 2. Then the last is to pray 2, which is the shafa', and 1 rak'ah, which is the witr. 2 separate rak'ahs and 1 by itself, which is the odd rak'ah. Also, the Prophet ﷺ was reported as praying the witr 3 rak'ahs all together, but without sitting for a middle tashahhud, so that it would not look like the Maghrib. Because there is a hadith in this regard in which the Prophet ﷺ said, لا تشبه الوتر بالمغرب. Do not make the witr prayer look like the Maghrib prayer. In what sense? The witr prayer may be offered 3 rak'ahs, maybe 5, 7, 9, okay, or more, as long as the total number, if you pray all of them together as one set, it must be odd. So the Prophet ﷺ means the 3 rak'ahs. If you happen to pray the witr 3 rak'ahs, it shouldn't be prayed in the same format of the Maghrib. And how do we pray the Maghrib, which is 3 rak'ahs? We pray 2 rak'ahs, then we sit for a middle tashahhud. We don't make taslim though. Then we got up to pray the 3rd rak'ah, then we make taslim after the 3rd rak'ah is completed. Do not pray the witr similar to that. Well, to me, I believe I studied comparative fiqh. I studied all the madhahib, even though my specialty was in the Hanafi madhab, but I go by the hadith. I go by the sound reference. This is what the Prophet ﷺ said, then I don't care what my shaykh said and what others said. All of those imams, Brother Malik, were very keen to follow the sunnah of the Prophet ﷺ. If any imam adopted any view because he was missing a reference, or he did not have a stronger reference which may abrogate his reference, have made their ijtihad and effort based on the available data. Then they said, إن صح الحديث فهو مذهبي. If later on hadith is proven to be sound, then consider it my madhab, take it. If any of them is still alive and he figured that there is a more sound hadith that opposes his view, right away he would neglect his view. Because this deen is not based on the view or the opinion of opinionated people, rather is based on al-ittiba', follow and do not innovate. Al-ijtihad, or making an effort to deduce a hukm or to conclude a new ruling for a contemporary issue, is only in the absence of the direct reference from the Quran or the Sunnah. Okay? So you may pray witr by praying 2 rak'ahs, tashahhud and taslim, then you pray the 3rd rak'ah. The 3 together are called witr, but there was a taslim, complete salam, after the 2nd rak'ah. The second form is to pray the 3 all together without a middle tashahhud. Barakallahu feekum. If you pray 5 rak'ahs, though, you may sit for the rak'ah before the last for a middle tashahhud, because it's not similar to Maghrib though. The following question is from Brother Munir Ahmed. Brother Munir is residing currently in the United States of America. He says, I reside in the USA because my son suffers from severe autism. May Allah give him shifa, Ya Rab, and give you patience. And he is in need of special care, very obvious. However, I do not like living here because of, then he mentioned his reasons and so on. He doesn't want to live in a non-Muslim country. He doesn't want to live amongst people who support this and that. And finally he says, also on the other hand, the schools in Pakistan do not meet the special needs of my son. What should I do? Indeed, this is a critical situation where his heart, alhamdulillah wa shukrullah, is the heart of a believer. He knows where he's supposed to be. He doesn't feel comfortable around people who are not praying. He does not hear the adhan. He doesn't find the environment which he desires to live in, the Muslim environment. And this is a good feeling. But meanwhile, he has to stay there for the sake of his son. So I hope this is a valid excuse. Until you find a resort or a way out, perhaps if you financially can afford it, I definitely believe in Pakistan, in the Arabic countries, everywhere, there are schools which take care of children with similar cases, autism or Down syndromes or whatever. So if you are keen to live and work in a Muslim country and amongst Muslims, may Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala give you a way out. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says, وَمَنْ يَتَّقِ اللَّهَ يَجْعَلْ لَهُ مَخْرَجًا وَيَرْزُقْهُ مِنْ حَيْثُ لَا يَحْتَسِبْ. This is a marvelous ayah pertaining taqwa and its compensation in Surah Al-Talaq. Whoever fears Allah and keeps his duty to Him, Allah will deliver him out of his misery, out of his hardship, will give him a way out, and will provide for him from ways which he could not expect. Perhaps until the child reaches a certain age where you can find a place for him that you can enroll him in to catch up in a Muslim country. May Allah make it easy for you. But I believe if this is the condition which you are staying for because of your son and there is no alternative, if there is alternative, then move. Make a move. And Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala will make it easy for you. But if there is no alternative, hopefully this is a legitimate reason, insha'Allah. Brother Abdul Rauf has a question, which is, non-Muslims here ask me if there are different interpretations of Islam. How can I respond to them? You know, I really like the question. It gives me an opportunity to explain to every Muslim that when it comes to define the deen, we don't give our personal interpretation, nor do we suggest definitions from our mind, as many people have changed a great deal in the definition and the origin of the deal in order to please non-Muslims. With an excuse, they are trying to justify their misdoing by saying that we want to attract non-Muslims to know about Islam. So when they say Islam means peace, one of the components of Islam is peace. Islam invites people to live in peace, to enjoy the peace of mind. But the word Islam is derived from taslim, inna ad-dina inda Allah al-Islam, which is submission. And who could better define the meaning of the term Islam and what it entails better than Allah and His messenger or messengers? Because all the messengers' religion was one, which is Islam. The only religion before Allah, the only accepted religion with Allah is Islam. Then after that, in the same surah, Surah Al-Imran, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says, وَمَنْ يَبْتَغِ غَيْرَ الْإِسْلَامِ دِينًا فَلَنْ يُقْبَلَ مِنْهُ وَهُوَ فِي الْآخِرَةِ مِنَ الْخَاسِرِينَ. Whoever seeks other than Islam as a religion, it will not be accepted from him, and he will be amongst the losers on the Day of Judgment. What was the faith of Nuh Abraham, Isaac, Jacob, all the way to Jesus, then to Muhammad sallallahu alayhi wa sallam. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says, أَمْ كُنْتُمْ شُهَدَاءَ إِذْ حَضَرَ يَعْقُوبَ الْمَوْتُ إِذْ قَالَ لِبَنِيهِ مَا تَعْبُدُونَ مِنْ بَعْدِي قالوا نعبد إلهك وإله آبائك إبراهيم وإسماعيل وإسحاق إلها واحدا ونحن له مسلمون. Jacob, peace be upon him, at the time of death, he gathered his sons, his children, and he asked them, whom are you going to worship after me? They said, we're going to worship your Lord, the Lord of your forefathers, Abraham and Isaac, because Yaqub is the son of Ishaq. إِلَهًا وَاحِدًا وَنَحْنُ لَهُ مُسْلِمُونَ. He is only one ilah, one God, and unto him we submit ourselves. Muslimun. So that is the meaning of Islam, to submit yourself to the will of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. In the hadith of Umar ibn Khattab, when Jibreel alayhi salam disguised as a human being, and he asked the Prophet sallallahu alayhi wa sallam, and we said, every ordinary Muslim must be aware of this hadith. This hadith comprises the entire deen. It explains the different levels of the deen. Al-Islam, Al-Iman, Al-Ihsan, and what about the Day of Judgment and the knowledge of the unseen? When will it take place? All of that is answered there. He said, Ya Muhammad, أخبرني عن الإسلام. Inform me about Islam. He said, Al-Islamu. Now, you want to define Islam to non-Muslims? Say, all Muslims believe that Al-Islamu أن تشهد أن لا إله إلا الله وأن محمد رسول الله. This is Islam. And this is monotheism. To bear witness that there is no God to be worshipped, there is no ilah other than Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. And Muhammad sallallahu alayhi wa sallam is his messenger. Somebody says, we are monotheistic too. No, you're not. Do you only worship Allah alone? Oh yeah, we believe in one God. Who is He? What's His traits? And do you believe that Muhammad sallallahu alayhi wa sallam is his last messenger? No, I don't believe in this part. Then you're not a Muslim. You are not monotheistic. Because the word Islam means that. Islam, the Shahada, the Salah, the Zakah, the fasting, and the Hajj, the 5 pillars of the deen. So there are no different opinions. You stick to the definition which we just provided. Barakallahu feek. And the brothers who may find an easy access to get involved in da'wah via the interfaith dialogue and so on. What is the purpose of the interfaith dialogue? To come to a common word, to an agreement. Don't you think that the agreement that definitely will come out of this room, that all of us would say we are following one religion? Not necessarily true. But the agreement is to explain your faith, to make it very clear and obvious, not to confuse people. As many like to confuse non-Muslims by saying that the 3 divine religions and all religions belong to the same God. That's a lie. That's a lie. And this is actually the greatest lie, because you lie about Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. One who says so have never ever read the Quran. The ayat which I quoted earlier of Surah Al Imran, then the last is of Surah Al Baqarah, very clear. 2 ayat of Surah Al Imran. Inna ad-dina 'inda Allah al-Islam. Not Christianity, not Judaism, not any other religion, Islam. Number 2, وَمَنْ يَبْتَغِ غَيْرَ الْإِسْلَامِ دِينًا فَلَا يُقْبَلَ مِنْهُ وَهُوَ فِي الْآخِرَةِ مِنَ الْخَاسِرِينَ. Whoever seeks other than Islam as the religion, it will not be accepted from him, and on the Day of Judgment, he will be among the losers. It's as simple as that. Do you know better than Allah? Do you think that your da'wah methodology is smarter than the method of giving da'wah delivered by the Prophet ﷺ and his companions? Obviously not. Islam is a gift that Allah grants whomever He wills. In Surah Al-An'am, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says, فَمَنْ يُرِدِ اللَّهُ أَنْ يَهْدِيَهُ يَشْرَحْ صَدْرَهُ لِلْإِسْلَامِ وَمَنْ يُرِدْ أَنْ يُضِلَّهُ يَجْعَلْ صَدْرَهُ ضَيِّقًا حَرَجًا كَأَنَّمَا يَصَّعَّدُ فِي السَّمَاءِ. Also, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala said in Surah Al-Qasas, إِنَّكَ لَا تَهْدِي مَنْ أَحْبَبْتَ وَلَكِنَّ اللَّهَ يَهْدِي مَنْ يَشَاءُ وَهُوَ أَعْلَمُ بِالْمُهْتَدِينَ. As far as the ayah of Surah Al-Imran, whomsoever Allah, its meaning, whomsoever Allah wills to guide, he opens his heart to accept Al-Islam as is, not as you confuse people with, not as different definitions that you deliver. All of us are driving on the highway, but in different vehicles, and by the end, all of us are going to the same God. That's a lie. This highway, if you're talking about the straight path, this is not the straight path that you're talking about. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala said, وَأَنَّ هَذَا صِرَاطِي مُسْتَقِيمًا فَاتَّبِعُوهُ وَلَا تَتَّبِعُوا السُّبُلَ فَتَفَرَّقَ بِكُمْ عَنْ سَبِيلِهِ. The Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam once was sitting, and he drew a straight line by his finger against the sand. Then out of the straight line he drew different branches going right and left. And he said, he recited the ayah, وَأَنَّ هَذَا صِرَاطِي مُسْتَقِيمًا. Verily, this is my straight path. Giving an example. Data show. So this is the straight path, one way. فَاتَّبِعُوهُ. Take it, follow it, adhere to it, remain steadfast on it all the time. وَلَا تَتَّبِعُوا السُّبُلَ. Then he pointed to the different branches, ways and paths by saying, and don't you follow the different ways. فَتَفَرَّقَ بِكُمْ عَنْ سَبِيلِ. Lest it shall mislead you from the straight path. This is Islam presented as is. If somebody would like to become a Muslim, this is a gift from Allah. If not, then Surah Al-Qasas says, you guide not those whom you like. And this ayah was said to Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam. Rather, it is Allah who guides whomever he was. When he was so keen to convert his uncle Abu Talib before death to Islam, he said, it's none of your business. You just deliver the clear essence of Islam, and guidance or Hidayatul Tawfiq is only in Allah's hand. Barakallahu feek, Abdul Rauf, and thank you for asking this question. Sister Iman says, here the ruqya is performed by people reciting verses of the Quran over the affected person. Great. And communication with the jinn, various methods. That is not good at all. That is not good at all. Why do we communicate with the jinn? If Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala said in Surah Al-Jinn that the jinn mocked at those who seek their help. In Surah Al-Jinn, when they listened to the Quranic recitation by the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam, and they confessed their nature, their reality, and the different parties and divisions, and they said, وَأَنَّهُ كَانَ رِجَالٌ مِّنَ الْإِنسِ يَعُوذُونَ بِرِجَالٍ مِّنَ الْجِنِّ فَزَادُوهُمْ رَهَقًا. They also said, وَأَنَّا لَا نَدْرِي أَشَرٌ أُرِيدَ بِمَنْ فِي الْأَرْضِ أَمْ أَرَادَ بِهِمْ رَبُّهُمْ رَشَدًا. Wonderful. Subhanallah, the Quran has the answer for every question that we need pertaining our deen, and in many cases our dunya as well. He says, Azza wa Jal, that the jinn said, in this ayat, it's recorded in the Quran, there used to be some men who seek the help of the jinn. They seek their assistance, they seek their protection. فَزَادُوهُمْ رَهَقًا. They increase them nothing but tiredness and fatigue and oppression, because the jinn cannot help. You are seeking the help from one who does not own help for himself. Then they also said in another ayah in the same surah, وَأَنَّا لَا نَدْرِي. We have no clue. أَشَرٌ أُرِيدَ بِمَنْ فِي الْأَرْضِ أَمْ أَرَادَ بِهِمْ رَبُّهُمْ رَشَدًا. We have no clue whether Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala wanted, and that was mentioned in the passive without mentioning the fa'il or the subject, which is Allah. Whether the people of earth, those who are living on earth, are going to be affected or afflicted with evil, or Allah intended to benefit them with something which is good. Very, very polite jinn. But the catch in the ayah is that they do not know the unseen. So how could they help you? Ar-Ruqya is only by the Quranic verses and the sound supplications which has been reported from the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam, such as أعيذك بكلمات الله التامة من كل شيطان وهامة ومن كل عين لامة ومن شر النفاثات في العقد ومن شر حاسد إذا حسد. Let's take a short break and inshallah in a few minutes we resume.
Have spilled over onto the
escalated into violent clashes between police and protesters.
over the government's plan to avoid default.
And we're also hearing of injuries on both.
Journalist Charlie McGrath says the cuts will heap further suffering on ordinary people.
For decades, but the fence needs some.
This is a serious and big storm.
Join me as I explore pressing issues facing the Muslim world today. From the one-sided civil war in Syria to the genocide in Burma, from the Arab Spring to the elections in the U.S., and yes, even the Euro debt crisis in Greece. Honest reporting on a channel you can trust, and I won't leave an issue untouched. Don't miss the Ummah Tonight with me, Malik, on your favorite channel for the TV.
Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh, and welcome back. The following question is from Brother Muhammad Maftah. His question is the exact birth date of the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam known? In fact, historians have different opinions and different theories pertaining the exact date. As far as the day, it is known because the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam stated so. And the month also is known, which is Rabi' al-Awwal, the first Rabi', and it was on Monday, as the Prophet ﷺ said in one hadith, that he was born on Monday. But the date, there are different views, whether it was the 2nd of Rabi' al-Awwal, the 8th, the 9th, or the 12th of Rabi' al-Awwal. So there are different views. And that supports the view of the Jumhur, which is that there is no sunnah in celebrating the Prophet's birthday because it was not even known on what date was he born. Most people believe that on the 12th, but there is a very well-respected opinion which supports the view that rather it was on the 9th of Rabi' al-Awwal. In any case, that was on Amul Fil, like 50 days after the incident of the field when Abraha al-Habashi led an army to destroy the Kaaba, and you know what happened, and Allah revealed the surah in the Quran which is called Surah Al-Fil, and that was on the year 571 after the birth of Jesus, peace be upon him. Now, and the following question is from Abdullahi. His question is numerology permissible? Numerology is any study of the purported mystical relationship between numbers and observed events. And also it is pertaining horoscope or fortune telling, and through certain calculations they predict what's going to happen in the future. In our faith, it has been mentioned in more than one place in the Quran and in the Sunnah that the future, even if it is the next moment, is exclusively, its knowledge is exclusively for Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. That's why the ayah by the end of Surah Luqman makes it very clear, and it makes any person lose his hope in predicting his future. There is a difference between predicting by the meaning hoping. I hope to live for another 20, 30 years. I hope to have my own house. I hope that my children would memorize Quran and they would become doctors and they will marry good girls and they would have many children. Fine, these are all amani, hopes. And there is a difference between consulting somebody who would read your future via numerology or predicting the day of judgment will be on the day, or there will be a major chaos, an earthquake, a volcano, or the stock market will crash on that day. That no one has its knowledge whatsoever but Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Because Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says in this ayah, إن الله عنده علم الساعة وينزل الغيث ويعلم ما في الأرحام وما تدري نفس ماذا تكسب غدا وما تدري نفس بأي أرض تموت. So these 5 aspects pertaining to the knowledge of the unseen are exclusively preserved for Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. وما تدري نفس ماذا تكسب غدا comes in clear conflict with the numerology. Because Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says, no soul of human, of jinn, of mystical creatures, it doesn't matter. No soul knows what's going to happen to it, to itself, to himself, to herself, to themselves, غدا, in the morrow, next moment, next hour. No one knows whatsoever. No one can predict what's going to happen as far as the unseen. So, also the Prophet ﷺ said, من أتى عرافا أو كاهنا فصدقه فقد كفر بما أنزل على محمد. If you want a direct reference to why we do not believe in this type of science, it's not even science, it's fake as we believe in it, because the Prophet ﷺ said, whoever goes to a soothsayer or a fortune teller, by analogy, a palmist, a person who is a palm, or a horoscope, astrologist, and consults him in any matter of the future, and he believes him, has indeed disbelieved in what has been revealed unto Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam, which is the Quran. Because the Quran says no one has any idea about the future but Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. I just quoted before the break the jinn, whom certain people seek the assistance in knowing the hidden and so on. The hidden, by the way, or the unseen, is partial, or I can say something may be hidden to me but not hidden to you, right? You as viewers, you can tell what's behind my back. I cannot tell because I could only see in front of my eyes. I cannot see behind my back. So somebody has seen somebody who's hiding something. Or the jinn knows something on earth that humans do not know. Right? It's relative though. It's not everything hidden like the same, hidden for everybody. There are certain things which are hidden for me, they're not hidden for you. Certain things hidden for humans are not hidden for the jinn. But when it comes to the future, it is definitely entirely hidden for every creature. And it's only known to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Now, Sister Fatima from Nigeria, her question is it permissible to work for the Central Bank of Nigeria? Of course it operates entirely as a conventional bank. I guess you just give yourself and give us the answer. Because the Prophet ﷺ has said in the sound hadith, لَعَنَ اللَّهُ الرِّبَا آكِلَهُ وَمُؤْكِلَهُ وَكَاتِبَهُ وَشَاهِدَيْهِ. So how many things were cursed in this hadith? 5. Number 1 is a riba, usury itself. آكِلَهُ, the person who charges interest. مُؤْكِلَهُ, the person who pays the interest. كَاتِبَهُ, the banker. The banker, the person who does this transaction. The bookkeeper, okay? The person who writes this contract and keeps the record. وَشَاهِدَيْهِ, if there were witnesses, the witnesses also are involved. Ibn al-Qayyim, may Allah have mercy on him, says, إن الله إذا حرم شيئا حرم ما يفضي إليه أي حرم الوسائل المفضية إليه. Whenever Allah prohibits anything and makes it haram, then anything that leads to this haram directly or indirectly is also forbidden. So those who facilitate the process of interest, paying, charging, lending with interest, borrowing with interest, are also included in the violation of violating what Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has prohibited. May Allah guide us to what's best. And by the way, I just wanted to share with you the hadith which I did quote it before you, when the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam said, "الربا وإن كثر فعاقبته إلى قل," which means what seems to be growth to one's wealth due to the interest is nothing but a depression, because definitely it will destroy his wealth. Recently, some of my neighbors requested me to sit with them to solve some inheritance problem, and they beat each other. It was really terrible. Then when I investigated and I asked them, it was pertaining a house that they are living in, and everyone wants to take a piece. So I figured out that initially the parents bought the house from the interest which they collected on some money that they saved in a saving account. So they collected some interest and they bought the property with. So I did not hesitate to tell them that this is the evil omen of this riba. The brothers, the sisters, and the mother, they were beating each other because of that. How good is that? I wish it was not there. And what everybody is dying to take a piece out of it on the day of judgment, everybody will be dying to disown it and say, no, it's not me. It was my father who earned this unlawful earning. And the father will say, I didn't take it, it's my children who took it. Please. This life is very short, temporary and brief, and one has to prepare for the more. One has to prepare for the everlasting life. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says, يَا أَيُّهَا الَّذِينَ آمَنُوا اتَّقُوا اللَّهَ وَذَرُوا مَا بَقِيَ مِنَ الرِّبَا إِن كُنتُم مُؤْمِنِينَ. Brother Muhammad Wasim has a question pertaining to marriage. He said, I recently married, and less than 1 month into our marriage, I realized that my wife has a mental illness. However, I was not informed of this before marriage. I would like to nullify this marriage. Please advise me. What is the purpose of the khitbah? Al-khitbah is a period that allows both parties to get to know each other closely in the presence of their mahram, to have their open books pertaining to the issues which concern each one of them, which would help them to make the final decision. It's mere promise to get married. This is the khitbah. And that's why no one should conceal anything which is current, not the past. Yani, somebody has a history of committing sins or dating or whatever, and they repented sincerely. We're not talking about this. We're talking about terminal ailment. We're talking about mental diseases. If somebody is experiencing seizures or fits due to epilepsy, if somebody has renal failure or cancer or whatever, you should be honest and tell the other partner or the future partner, this is what you have, including diabetes, because it will affect your life. I won't be able to eat this, I have to eat that, I'm on a diet. You have to be honest. So if he chooses to go on, proceed on, and continue this marriage, it's based on transparency. They both know, I accepted you in this condition, I'm very happy with it, I talk to you for whom you are, not because of any other thing. It strengthens the marriage ties and relationship, versus when after marriage, either party recognizes that the other party was deceiving him. And I spent all this money, and I moved from my town, and I bought a flat or furniture, and I paid the dowry, and you're having this, why didn't you tell me? Okay? If it is something that does not affect the life, it's insignificant. But I still insist. It's not me. The Sharia insists. You should be very honest with your future life mate and explain to him or to her. It goes both ways. As far as you wish to seize this marriage relationship, it's entirely up to you. It is legitimate. But if it is something really does not affect your marriage life and you become patient, may Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala bless you for that. Also, remember that virtuous deeds include being patient for calamities and afflictions. Maybe it is you who would develop this ailment. Maybe after marriage, It does not necessarily have to be something congenital or the person was born with it. It may happen afterward. So based on the benefit-risk ratio, you have to make your final decision. If you assume that it's something that you can live with, fine. If you think that this is something congenital and it may affect your upcoming generation, then it's entirely up to you to divorce her, and there is no blame on you. Brother Muhammad Jalal says, what should be the inheritance of a deceased Muslim and how should it be distributed amongst the inheritors? This is not a mas'ala because he did not mention anything how the inheritance should be distributed, unless if you want me to present the whole inheritance law, and that needs a series. You need to provide a mas'ala. A father died, a mother died, a brother passed away and left behind 1, 2, 3, and how many years. That should be the mas'ala, not how the inheritance will be distributed amongst whom. Okay? Barakallah fiqh. Brother Said has a question. His question is, I have been working for the last 5 years in stocks and in currency trading online. Trading is conducted online through a banker. I am very confused if this work is permissible or not. Please advise. I can only advise when I know the type of transaction and whether you have to pay interest or charge interest on that. But this is called vague business to me. I'm not in the stock market. I don't know how do you deal with it. Similarly, if somebody says there is this kind of bank which says it's Islamic bank and they lend without interest and they can buy you a car or a house, is it halal? I will not be able to give you an answer unless if I take a look at the contract and all the articles of the contract. What does it say? And read between the lines. There is a difference between fees, which are required that every person, every investor have to pay because there are a lot of workers and offices and printing machines and processors, that everybody has to pay flat rate and an amount of money or payment that is in proportion with your earning. So it is interest-based percentage or transaction. In this case, I would say this is plain and clear riba. Who can decide when we read the contract or you describe in details the kind of business or work that you do? It's easy to tell you haram. Everybody can say haram. It's ha, ra, alif, mim. But who can say it is halal? This is the hardest. And by the way, making halal haram is as bad as making halal haram. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala said to the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam in the beginning of a whole surah which is called Surah Al-Tahrim. He said, Ya ayyuhan nabiyyu, lima tuharrimu ma ahalla Allahu lak. Why? Do you make unlawful for yourself what Allah has made it lawful to you? It is not easy to consider the halal haram. If you don't want to use it, that's fine. You don't want to consume it, fine. You don't have appetite for it, you don't like it, it's up to you. But considering the halal haram is a major sin. It is the same as considering the haram halal. So I have to be careful for my own salvation, of course, and for the sake of the questioner, because it's not only you, the questioner, whom I'm answering. Rather, I'm answering all the viewers. Sister Sana Ibrahim says, my mother-in-law is saving all of her money for her children's marriage, although her money and gold has reached the zakatable level. Is it permissible to continue to calculate wealth for whatever reasons, accumulate wealth for whatever reasons without paying zakah? Thank you, Sister Wallahi, for bringing this question, Sister Sana. No, even if this money is saved for Hajj, Hajj is one of the pillars of the deen, right? Even if this money is saved because I'm building an orphanage or a masjid, but the money is in my possession, is not a waqf. unless if the money has been transferred from my fund, from my account, to a waqf account, khalas, there is no zakah on it. But if the money is in my possession, in my name, I'm a beneficiary, if I die right now, the wealth will be divided amongst the heirs, and it is zakatable, يعني it reached the limit. It crossed the threshold of the zakah money, zakatable money, which is the value or the amount of 85 grams of gold or 595 grams of silver, then every lunar year, at the exact date on which you possess the nisab, you must pay the zakah. It doesn't matter, it's decreasing the wealth because you're not investing it, it's only saving. Because Umar ibn al-Khattab radiyallahu anhu ordered the guardian of an orphan or orphans to invest in their wealth which their parents have left for them. He said, لا تأكله الزكاة, lest the zakah will devour it. Which means, if somebody died and left orphans and left some money for them, and this money is zakatable, every year the guardian must pay zakah on this money, even though it is not invested. Barakallah fiqh. Brother Khan, if I am reading Quran before Asr and Maghrib prayer, and I need to make the prostration, obviously, of sujood or tilawa, what should I do? Is it permissible to do it before Asr and Maghrib? Brother, in the more right view that sajda to tilawa is not a prayer. Abdullah ibn Umar used to make sujood even without wudu, because it is not a typical prayer. So accordingly, whenever you pass by ayat to sajda, you can also still make sujood at this time. By that, brothers and sisters, we answer many questions, mashallah, today. I ask Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala to accept from all of us and to teach us what we don't know and to help us to act upon what we have learned. أقول قولي هذا وأستغفر الله لي ولكم والسلام عليكم ورحمة الله وبركاته.
Allah is my heart's speech, your mercy is what I beseech. Keep in my heart your